Laura Bennett stepped off the train at Ashbourne Station. The cold spring air wrapped around her as she clutched Mia's hand tightly. It had been over 10 years since she last set foot in the small Derbyshire village, yet every corner seemed to whisper memories. Some warm, others painful. Ashbourne looked unchanged, its cobbled streets and old stone houses standing quietly against the grey sky. Lara's heart pounded. This was not just a visit. It was a reckoning. She remembered her grandmother Edith's music room, filled with dusty scores and the scent of aged wood. Edith had been a renowned composer, a beacon in their family, but her death 20 years ago had torn them apart. Lara had left after a bitter argument with her mother, Helen, and the rift only grew wider with time. Now, holding Mia close, Lara was here for the memorial, a family gathering she was never officially invited to. She heard whispers as she walked through the village, eyes turning, judging. The reunion would not be easy. But Lara had a secret to uncover, a composition hidden among Edith's works, a song no one else knew. And Mia, with her innocent smile, was about to unlock more than just a melody. The old manor stood at the edge of Ashbourne, its stone walls covered in creeping ivy. Lara's breath caught as she and Mia approached the heavy oak door. The house, once alive with music and laughter, now seemed like a silent guardian of secrets. Inside, the air was thick with dust and memories. Portraits of stern ancestors lined the hallway, their eyes seeming to follow Lara as she passed. She could hear the faint murmur of voices coming from the grand drawing room where the family had gathered. Helen, Lara's mother, stood stiffly by the fireplace. Her eyes narrowed as she spotted Lara. Beside her, Claire and James whispered with cold smiles. The welcome was icy. No one had expected Lara to show up unannounced. Mia clung to her mother's side, sensing the tension. Yet when Lara glanced at the grand piano in the corner, a strange calm washed over her. The same piano Edith had played so often, its keys still gleaming despite the years. Suddenly, the murmurs hushed. All eyes turned to Mia as she was gently guided to the piano. Without hesitation, Mia's fingers touched the keys, and a haunting melody filled the room. It was a tune no one recognized, yet it stirred something deep in Lara's heart. Whispers erupted again. Some faces paled, others frowned. Lara realized this was no ordinary song. It was a message, a key to unlocking the past. After the melody faded, an uneasy silence settled over the room. Lara could feel the weight of countless eyes on her and Mia. Helen's face was a mask of controlled anger, but Lara sensed there was more behind that stern expression, something buried deep beneath years of bitterness. Mia, unaware of the tension she had stirred, looked up at her mother with wide, curious eyes. Where did that song come from? She asked quietly. Lara hesitated. The tune was a fragment of a secret childhood memory, one Edith had once shared in a rare moment of tenderness before their bond was shattered. It was a melody Edith composed but never allowed to be published, whispered only to Lara in the privacy of the music room. Lara had thought it lost forever. Helen cleared her throat sharply. That melody doesn't belong here, she said coldly. It was meant to be forgotten, just like the past. Lara's heart tightened. The past. The very reason she had left Ashbourne all those years ago. The tragic night when a family secret exploded into a scandal no one wanted to mention. As the gathering resumed with strained conversations and forced smiles, Lara slipped away with Mia to the library. The room smelled of old books and forgotten stories. Lara pulled open a drawer of Edith's desk and found a folded sheet of music unlike any she had seen before. The notes were delicate but haunting, marked with cryptic symbols and a single phrase written in Edith's elegant handwriting. For those who listen beyond the silence. Mia reached out to touch the paper, her fingers trembling slightly. Is this the song you played? Yes, Lara whispered. And it's only the beginning. Outside, the wind howled through the ancient trees surrounding the manor, as if echoing the secrets longing to be heard. Lara knew she was standing on the edge of a mystery that could change everything she believed about her family, her past, and herself. The night had fallen thick and heavy over Ashbourne Manor. Lara sat by the flickering fireplace in the dimly lit library, the folded sheet music resting carefully on the table before her. Mia was asleep on the worn leather armchair, exhausted from the long journey and the day's strange events. Lara's mind raced as she traced the strange symbols on the music sheet with trembling fingers. What did Edith mean by those who listen beyond the silence? Was there a hidden message embedded in the notes? A sudden knock at the door startled her. Helen's cold voice followed. Lara, come downstairs. It's time to face the family. Reluctantly, Lara folded the sheet music and slipped it into her coat pocket. She stood and smoothed her dress, trying to steady her nerves. The dining room was filled with the family, their faces a mixture of suspicion, resentment, and something Lara couldn't yet name. Helen's eyes locked on hers. You brought her here after all these years, Helen said, gesturing toward Mia. Do you even remember what happened here? Or have you come to reopen wounds best left closed? Claire and James exchanged tense glances but said nothing. Lara took a deep breath. I didn't come to cause trouble. I came to understand. At that moment, the Manor's old piano began to play by itself. A soft, haunting melody filled the room. Everyone fell silent, eyes wide in disbelief. It was the song, Edith's secret composition. Mia stirred awake, looking around with wide eyes. Lara felt a chill run down her spine. This was no ordinary reunion. The Manor itself seemed to be speaking, forcing the past to be heard. Helen's voice dropped to a whisper. It's a warning. From Edith. The family sat frozen, as the notes floated in the air, carrying secrets waiting to be uncovered. The mysterious melody finally faded, but the tension in the dining room lingered like a thick fog. Lara's eyes scanned the faces around her. Some were pale, others stiff with disbelief. Helen's glare was sharper than ever, but beneath her coldness Lara sensed a flicker of fear. I need to show you something, Lara said quietly, pulling Mia close. She stood and walked toward the grand staircase, the heavy wood creaking beneath her feet. The family exchanged uncertain glances but made no move to stop her. Lara's heart pounded as she reached the top floor, following the faded directions Edith had once whispered in a long-forgotten letter. At the end of a narrow corridor, hidden behind a bookshelf, Lara discovered a small, dust-covered door. Her hands trembled as she pushed it open. Inside was a tiny room, filled with stacks of old manuscripts, letters tied with ribbons, and a weathered journal lying open on a desk. Lara picked up the journal, flipping through pages filled with Edith's delicate handwriting. The entry spoke of forbidden love, betrayal, and a secret pact made decades ago, one that could destroy the family's carefully crafted reputation. Mia, wide-eyed, whispered, Why did no one tell us about this? Lara's voice was steady but low. Because some truths are too dangerous to share. But now we have to face them. Suddenly, footsteps echoed outside. Helen appeared in the doorway, her expression unreadable. This place was meant to remain hidden, she said. For the sake of all of us. Lara met her mother's eyes, knowing this was only the beginning of a reckoning that would shake the family to its core. The storm outside battered Ashbourne Manor as thunder rolled across the Yorkshire hills. Inside the hidden room, Lara's fingers trembled as she read Edith's journal by the flickering light of a solitary candle. The shadows danced on the walls, casting eerie shapes that seemed to whisper secrets long buried. The entries revealed a story of forbidden love between Edith and a mysterious figure named Thomas. Their bond was passionate yet perilous, threatened by the rigid expectations of the family and society. Edith wrote of a secret child, a child never spoken of, hidden away to protect them both. Lara's breath caught in her throat. Could this child be the reason for the family's coldness toward her? Had Edith's secret been passed down as a curse, a shame that fractured the family for generations? Mia, sensing her mother's distress, clung to her side. Mama, what does it all mean? Lara swallowed hard, her voice steady despite the turmoil inside. It means our family story is not what we believed. We've been living with lies. Suddenly, the candle flickered and went out. Darkness swallowed the room. Footsteps approached. Soft, deliberate. Helen's voice came from the shadows, cold and sharp. You don't understand what you're stirring. Some truths are better left in the dark. Lara met the voice with defiance. No more secrets. It's time to face what's real. Thunder crashed, shaking the walls as the manor seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the family's next move. The morning light filtered weakly through the tall windows of Ashbourne Manor, casting long shadows across the cold stone floor. The storm had passed, but a heavy silence filled the house, as if the walls themselves were waiting for the family to confront the truth. Lara gathered the scattered papers and the journal, her mind racing. The revelations from Edith's diary were more than just secrets. They were a reckoning that could unravel everything her family had built. She knew she had to confront her mother, Helen, and force the truth into the open. Downstairs, the family sat around the grand dining table, faces drawn and eyes wary. Lara stepped into the room, the journal held tightly in her hands. She looked at Helen, who sat rigidly, her usual composure faltering. "We can't keep hiding from the past," Lara said firmly. "Edith's story is part of who we are, whether we like it or not." Helen's eyes darkened, but before she could reply, Callum stood up, his voice sharp and accusing. "You're stirring trouble where there was peace. This family doesn't need more pain." Eliza nodded, her gaze cold. "Some things are better left forgotten." But Lara's resolve hardened. "No more lies. The truth will set us free, or tear us apart. Either way, we deserve to know." At that moment, Mia walked forward, her small fingers clutching a folded piece of sheet music. "Grandma Agnes wrote this for Edith," she said softly. "She never played it for anyone else." The room fell silent as Lara unfolded the music. The notes were unfamiliar yet hauntingly beautiful. A melody that spoke of love, loss and hope. It was the final key to the mystery Edith had hidden. Helen's voice broke the silence, trembling with emotion. "Edith was my sister. I tried to protect her, and you all. But some truths are too painful to bear." Lara nodded slowly. "Then it's time we all shared the burden, together." The family sat in uneasy silence, the weight of years pressing down on them. The past was no longer a shadow lurking in corners, but a story demanding to be heard. The final day at Ashbourne Manor dawned quiet, the air heavy with anticipation. The family gathered once more in the music room, where a grand piano stood as a silent witness to their history. Lara placed the fragile sheet music on the stand, its notes shimmering in the soft morning light. Mia sat beside her, fingers poised above the keys. The room fell into a hushed expectance as Mia began to play the melody, a song that carried the weight of forgotten secrets and the hope of new beginnings. Each note echoed through the manor's walls, stirring memories and emotions long suppressed. Helen's eyes glistened with tears, while Callum and Eliza exchanged looks that spoke of grudging acceptance. As the last note faded, Lara spoke softly. "This melody is more than a song. It is the voice of our past, calling us to heal." Helen stepped forward, her voice trembling. "Edith's story is ours. We cannot change the past, but we can choose how it shapes our future." Lara reached out and took her mother's hand. "Together, we can rewrite our family's story." Outside, the sun broke through the clouds, casting a warm glow over Ashbourne Manor. The music had unlocked something deeper than secrets, a chance for forgiveness, understanding, and love that endured beyond the shadows. The last note lingered in the air, a promise that no matter the past, the family could find harmony once again.